Hi, you're listening to episode 0 of the Women in Depth podcast. Welcome to the Women in Depth podcast. I'm your host, Lourdes Viado. Thank you for joining us. This podcast is about cultivating a conversation around the uncomfortable, uncertain, and unknown aspects of a woman's experience. Through interviews and stories, we'll go beneath the surface to take a deeper look at relationships, motherhood, self-acceptance, authenticity, aging, healing, suffering, loss, and other areas connected to the emotional and psychological well-being of women. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Welcome to the Women in Depth podcast. Today's episode will be different from other episodes because today I wanted to tell you about what this podcast is about and what you can expect from it. I also wanted to share a little bit about myself and my inspiration for creating this podcast. The Women in Depth podcast is about cultivating a conversation around the unknown, uncertain, and uncomfortable aspects of a woman's experience. It's about shining a light into the shadows of this experience, at what lies beneath the surface, what is hidden, misunderstood, or feared. Now, I understand that some of you may be wondering, why would I willingly want to explore dark and scary places? And that is an excellent question. In response, I invite you to consider these 3 ideas. First, while initially it does sound unwise and even unsafe to move towards discomfort and pain, the reality is that being human involves discomfort and pain. It involves suffering and uncertainty. They are an unavoidable part of the human experience. It doesn't matter who you are, you will experience struggle, loss, and pain at different times and in different areas and in different ways. Secondly, even if we think we are avoiding these difficult places, they are impacting us in some way, even if we're not aware of it. There's a price to pay for not paying attention or honoring these aspects of our life. Remember, there is no shadow without light or light without shadow. One cannot exist without the other. Third, from my own personal experiences and also in what I've seen in my clients, the experiences that are the most painful, the most difficult and challenging, can also lead to the most significant growth and, yes, even transformation. This quote by Hermann Hesse perfectly captures this. I have always believed, and I still believe, that whatever good or bad fortune may come our way, we can always give it meaning and transform it into something of value. And I also want to clarify that this podcast isn't about wallowing in self-pity or glorifying pain, focusing on the negative, being pessimistic, or being stuck in the past. It's about facing our fears with intentionality, talking about the things that need to be talked about in order to heal and move forward, exploring these areas enough so that they no longer hold us hostage or impact us in negative, often unconscious ways. It's about acknowledging and relating with the hidden and unknown parts of ourselves and our lives that hurt us or others, that keep us stuck, that get in the way of healthy and satisfying relationships and block us from living authentically and purposefully. My name is Lourdes Viado, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and psychologist with a private practice in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been in practice for 13 and a half years, and I am passionate about helping women create more meaningful and intentional lives. My specialty areas in my work with women include childhood sexual abuse, childhood emotional neglect, and relationships. This podcast is inspired by my clients. I am constantly moved, honored, and astounded at these incredible women. Their strength, courage, and perseverance as they delve into difficult and uncomfortable experiences and feelings, as they discover and reconnect with who they are and what matters most to them, and as they create a new relationship with themselves and the difficult situations in their lives, and finally, as they grapple with the challenge of living this out in the world. It is my hope that this podcast can be a support to other women as well. My goals for this podcast are that it will create a safe, compassionate, non-judgmental, and welcoming space for exploring difficult topics that relate to a woman's experience. That it will help women know they're not alone, that they're not the only one experiencing or going through whatever they're going through. That it can provide women with a sense of support and acceptance, and that it can provide meaningful suggestions, information, and resources. In this podcast, you can listen in as therapists, coaches, writers, teachers, artists, and everyday people explore the inner lives of women, their struggles, fears, hopes, and dreams. Through interviews and stories, we'll take a deeper look at relationships, our relationships with others, and our relationship to ourselves. We'll look at motherhood, self-acceptance, authenticity, attachment, aging, healing, suffering, loss, and other areas connected to the emotional and psychological well-being of women. In the midst of whatever overwhelming situations we are dealing with, we have the potential to shift that experience, to change how we perceive and relate to it, instead of feeling shame, anxiety, or fear, or trying to ignore or pretend they don't exist. We can begin to create a different experience, a different relationship with them. As the psychologist Joseph Campbell wrote, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. There is hidden treasure buried in the depths of darkness and difficulty. This podcast is about bringing light to darkness. By doing this, we can recover what has been lost, remember what has been forgotten, and heal what is wounded." I understand that the idea of cultivating a relationship with what is unknown and uncertain can be overwhelming and frightening. Where do we even begin? How do we start? I found this quote by the poet David Whyte, which provides insight for this. He writes, "The only thing you have to do is begin the conversation with it." So thank you for joining me in beginning this conversation as we illuminate the deeper areas of a woman's experience. I am so honored and grateful that you are here. For show notes to today's episode and to find out more about me, please visit www.lourdesviado.com/Women in Depth podcast. Thank you for listening to the Women in Depth podcast. For more information, visit www.lourdesviado.com.